Every year, more than 1,300 Americans die from hypothermia. And what is truly disturbing, half of them die in their homes. What if I told you that during the cold in Texas in 2021, people didn't die from lack of preparation, but because they prepared incorrectly? They had sleeping bags, heaters, hand warmers, but when the power grid collapsed and the temperature rapidly dropped, all these standard means became useless. In the next 10 minutes, you will learn about 7 forgotten items that prepared people stockpile. These items can save your life when regular emergency gear fails. Given that a cold winter is forecasted and supply chains are already showing signs of trouble, some of these items are disappearing from shelves right now. Welcome to Food Decider, where we help you make smarter survival, preparedness, and self-sufficiency decisions. If you want to protect yourself and your family this winter, like and subscribe to not miss vital information. Let's start with why your current emergency plan is unlikely to work. Most people think they are prepared because they have cotton blankets or fleece throws folded in a closet. But what they do not understand is that cotton absorbs moisture and loses almost all its insulating properties when it becomes wet from sweat or condensation. And fleece? Yes, it is cozy on the couch, but it also quickly absorbs moisture and can even melt if it is near an open flame. The cold in Texas in the year 2021 became a harsh awakening. 6 days without heating. Families shiver in their homes. People who thought they had backup plans like heaters and generators found themselves in serious trouble when the electricity went out and fuel ran out. And this is not just a Texas problem. Considering inflation tightening budgets, worsening supply chains, and the forecast of a cold winter, it is crucial to update your emergency action plan by adding things that truly work when all other means fail. So let's talk about the first forgotten item that can save your life. It's wool blankets, not the trendy wool throws you see in stores, but real 100% wool. Specifically, military wool blankets. That's why it's important. Wool is the original survival fabric from nature. It naturally repels water and is fire resistant. Here's the catch. Even when it is completely wet, it retains up to 80% of its insulation. Let me give you a real example. During an icy storm in Montana in 2023, families were isolated in remote homes for 5 freezing days. Without fire, generator, or electricity, only army wool blankets, and they survived. This is the power of true wool. Now I will tell you how to find these blankets before they disappear. Look for 100% wool army blankets, not blends. Official olive or khaki blankets with a U.S. government stamp are your best option. Check eBay, specialty stores, Army and Navy shops, or even secondhand stores like Goodwill and Salvation Army. Sometimes you can find vintage Hudson's Bay or Pendleton wool blankets for less than $10 if you know where to look. When you receive them, never wash in hot water. It's best to wash by hand in cold water with a bit of white vinegar, then hang them to dry. If cared for properly, they will last you decades. But here is what is really important. The military surplus supplies are quickly depleting. The Ministry of Defense is gradually abandoning wool blankets in favor of synthetic materials. Once the current stock is exhausted, it will no longer be available. Even one real wool blanket can be the crucial factor between mild discomfort and life-threatening hypothermia. Don't postpone this. Now let's move on to the second point. Thermal tents made of mylar. You have probably seen those cheap mylar emergency blankets in camping sections, shiny silver ones rolled up in a small package. Most people toss one in their car and forget about it. But here is what experienced prepared people know. You can turn these blankets into a thermal tent that will retain your body's heat. When your heating is turned off, the warmth doesn't just disappear. It rises and escapes through the ceiling, windows, and every crack in the walls. The mylar tent stops this heat loss. Here's how to construct it. Use an emergency mylar bag or tape 4 mylar blankets together to create a canopy over your bed. Seal the edges to the wall or headboard with painter's tape. But, and this is critically important, leave a small air space for breathing. Never seal it airtight. Then place a hot water bottle. Just fill the bottle with warm water, wrap it in a sock, and place it next to the body. Mylar reflects your heat back, and the water bottle provides lasting warmth. How effective is this? In field tests, such a design raised the temperature inside the tent from 30 degrees Fahrenheit to 52 in just 20 minutes, using only body heat. No electricity, no fuel, just physics. A pack of 10 Mylar blankets costs about $12. But here is the catch. They disappear from the shelves during the winter shopping panic. Stock up on them now and keep them in the bedroom closet. For $12, you give yourself a chance for survival. Now let's talk about the third item that may surprise you. Calcium chloride for melting ice. Yes, the one you use at your entrance, but it can also become a vital source of heat due to a simple chemical reaction. When you mix calcium chloride with water, it causes an exothermic reaction that generates heat. We are talking about a temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit lasting more than 4 hours. Here is a safe way to use it. Mix 1 cup of calcium chloride pellets with 2 cups of room temperature water in a sealed bottle. Tighten the cap securely. Wipe it and place it in the sleeping bag next to the body. But make sure to mark each bottle with a bright red marker. Source of heat. Do not drink. This substance is corrosive and toxic if swallowed. Now about the budget. 50 pounds of calcium chloride cost about $8 and can last you many years. Compare this to $30 for disposable heat packs that last only 8 hours. It's obvious. Store calcium chloride in a dry container with an algicide bottle and a measuring cup at hand. Make sure to buy pure calcium chloride, not mixtures with salt and sand. Keep it away from children and pets. You will have a reusable heat source that costs mere pennies to use. The fourth forgotten item is gel fuel for alcohol, particularly sterno. Many people believe that propane heaters are the perfect solution during power outages. But here's what they don't take into account. Propane tanks stop working at temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The gas simply does not evaporate in extreme cold. Additionally, using unventilated propane indoors can lead to fatal carbon monoxide poisoning. That's why FEMA actually recommends using alcohol-based fuel. You can buy sterno cans or make your own by mixing 91% isopropyl alcohol with a pinch of salt in a clean tuna can. Place it on a non-flammable surface and light it. Each can burns for 45 minutes or more, providing safe and controlled heat around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. To distribute heat more evenly, a can can be placed in a small clay pot. A finished sterno costs about $2 per can. Homemade versions cost about 25 cents an hour for heat. But here's the problem. Sterno has been unavailable on Amazon and Walmart since September. Your best bet now is stores that specialize in restaurant equipment. Sometimes they still have supplies. Do yourself a favor. Buy a can of sterno or a bottle of 91% isopropyl alcohol and test it in the kitchen right now. Don't wait until you're freezing in the dark to understand how it works. The third and fourth items we deal with are the issue of heat generation. But what most people overlook is that heat generation means nothing if you cannot retain it. Here, the fifth item comes to the rescue: window film and bubble wrap. Heat escapes from your home through windows and cracks even when you are wrapped inside. Windows are major heat leak points, but window film and bubble wrap are simple and inexpensive solutions that can significantly reduce heat loss. Here's how to apply them. Use transparent window film kits or regular bubble wrap to cover the windows. Seal the edges with tape. Even a roll of bubble wrap for $3 from the hardware store can significantly improve the insulation of your space. It's not very glamorous. No one will boast about windows wrapped in bubble film. But when you try to keep every drop of heat during prolonged power outages, stopping heat leaks is as important as generating it. These materials are still available in hardware stores and online, but, like everything else, may quickly disappear in panic. Moving on to the sixth item: handheld radios with heating functions. Handheld radios have been an essential part of emergency kits for many years. You turn the dial, charge the battery, and receive updates on the weather and news. But new models offer something many don't know about: built-in radiant heating panels. Devices like the Eaton Sidepick Plus and Midland ER310 are equipped with small thermal panels that warm your hands or face using the kinetic energy generated by cranking a handle. You turn the knob for 90 to 120 seconds, then press your palms or cheeks against the heating panel, receiving up to 15 minutes of gentle warmth. This may seem insignificant, but in the case of a prolonged power outage, the ability to warm one's extremities can prevent frostbite and maintain morale. After the icy storm of 2024 in Maine, emergency services distributed radios to elderly people in rural areas who had been without power for over a week. This had a real impact. You can search for a hand-cranked radio with heating function on eBay among open or refurbished models for about $35. But here's a warning about supplies. Global shortages of rare earth magnets have slowed production. Warnings about limited stock are already appearing on Amazon and REI. If you want one of these devices, don't delay. Now let's move on to the 7th point. I understand this sounds strange, but don't rush to conclusions. Emergency urinals. Yes, you heard that right. Storing warm urine in an insulated container can prevent dangerous heat loss in extreme cold. Here's the thing. When you urinate in frost, your body loses up to 200 calories of heat instantly. That's the heat your body has been diligently generating, and you are literally flushing it away. Arctic explorers, climbers on Everest, and even World War II pilots have used this technique for decades. Here's how it works. Use a special bag or bottle that doesn't leak. For additional insulation, place the bottle in a wool sock or towel, then press it against your body, in the pelvic area, under the armpit, or between layers of a sleeping bag. It may not sound pleasant, but it works. If you don't want to spend money on specialized equipment, just rinse out an empty 1-liter soda bottle, seal the cap with tape, and clearly label it, "Heat, do not drink." During an expedition on Denali in 2023, a climber trapped in a snow cave used this method to stay warm for 18 hours after his stove broke. It could have saved his life. I understand. It takes getting used to. But survival is not always dignified. When faced with hypothermia, pride quickly takes a back seat. Before concluding, let me offer 3 additional tips that most survival technicians completely ignore. The first is silk thermal underwear. Everyone talks about basic layers made of merino wool, but silk is lighter, better at wicking moisture than synthetics, and costs half as much. Silk-based layers keep you dry, warm, and odor-free even in sub-zero temperatures. They can be found on Amazon or REI for less than $30. Second, sleep with a hat. A Johns Hopkins study confirmed that up to 30% of your body heat escapes through your head. A simple fleece hat can increase your perception of warmth by 5 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep one under your pillow for cold nights. This is the simplest improvement you can make. The third is to update the winter kit for the car. Most people just throw gloves and a blanket in the trunk and think that's enough, but add 2 more things. Choosing a durable rescue blanket that doesn't tear and a candle in a metal tin, like a tea candle in a mint candy package, can be crucial in an emergency situation. If you find yourself in a difficult situation, light a candle, drape a rescue blanket over your shoulders, and you will create a microclimate with a temperature of around 100 degrees, which will burn for 4 hours or more. This can save your life if you are stranded on the roadside in a snowstorm. Now let's discuss why this is important right now. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, liquefied gas prices for households have risen by 22% compared to last year, and supplies in the Midwest are at a 7-year low. This winter, heating your home may not only be more expensive, but also unavailable during peak demand periods. Strains on the energy grid, pipeline restrictions, and early cold waves create perfect conditions for problems. But here is the good news. You don't need a generator or a wood stove to stay safe. Sometimes the simplest improvements have the greatest impact. Even $20 this week can buy you 3 essential items: a rough hat, a pack of emergency blankets, and a bottle of isopropyl alcohol for homemade heating. So here's your action plan. Spend 10 minutes right now looking for a wool blanket. Order a pack of 10 emergency blankets or 1 bivy blanket. Next time you are in the hardware store, buy a bag of pure calcium chloride for melting ice. Get gel fuel like sterno or isopropyl alcohol. On the weekends, stick film or bubble wrap on the windows. Look for a hand-cranked radio with heating function and prepare a bottle for emergency urine in your kit. Yes, this is really important. If you want to do more, invest in silk thermal underwear. Keep a fleece hat by the bed and update the car kit with a rescue blanket and a candle. Preparation is not paranoia. It is prudence and freedom. The freedom to sleep peacefully, knowing you are ready for whatever winter brings. The best time to prepare was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Which of these 7 items surprised you the most? Leave a comment below and let us know. And do not risk your family's safety. In the next video, we will talk about 3 mistakes in water purification that can make you sick, even if you think you are safe. You won't want to miss this. Take care, prepare, and remember, we are not paranoid.